Good afternoon, trekkers. How are you today? We have one vehicle at home, which is that 1995 Honda Civic. It runs, but I don't like to drive it very far because, you know, just the nature of the beast. I don't want to break it down anywhere. I can drive up to the corner. It's actually not a big deal. It's reliable. I mean, I did all the work on it, but I don't want to trust it to drive it around a lot. So tonight I got to run an errand because I got to go look at the vehicle that we just paid to ship from Maryland to Cincinnati area. CarMax. Okay, guy, I hope he sees me. I hope he sees me. Yeah. The guys come flying out of that parking lot, and you got to be very careful. But oh my gosh, I'm gonna go. No, I'm not. Shit. Oh well. Yeah, if the people would get out of their damn phones long enough, they would have seen that the light was green for about, 30 seconds. But anyway, I hate this light because I always get stuck at it. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I got to go down to CarMax. We got this vehicle that we paid to have it shipped to from a different location. It is a 2018 Ford Escape, and it's got about 30,000 miles, still pretty good, less than 9,000 a year, and got every available option on it. I talked to one of my buddies that I met through Facebook about it, as far as his channel and stuff, and it's got a good report on it. There was one minor collision as far as an accident, and it was in the back, but it was like just a minor thing. You know how like somebody just backs into a pole, or maybe somebody hit them from behind, but it didn't look like it was anything serious or anything that was gonna bend the frame or anything like that. So that's pretty common. Anyway, so I'm gonna go check it out. I'm not gonna purchase it tonight, just gonna check it out, give it a once over, look at all the fluids, make sure everything looks good, kind of check around the engine. I kind of know a little things to look to, but I'm really curious to see it up close and personal. The pictures look amazing, and from what I can tell, the inside and everything is very clean. Yeah, let's go. Well, I'm gonna get on this major highway, so it's gonna be very windy, so I'm gonna stop talking for a bit, but that's where I'm headed. See, there's my key blinky light thing. Remember when I talked about that in the prior video? This key indicator flashes, and it's because I have my cigarette lighter adapter, my 12-volt adapter in there. So I think it's caused by the interference, the frequency interference or something. But yeah, that light's because I use my 12-volt cigarette lighter adapter to keep my phone charged, if that makes sense. And for the life of me, I don't know why that happens. Somebody said, actually in a recent comment, that it's an interference thing. So I just hope it doesn't like conk out my starter type thing, my key fob, I should say. So what I originally thought in the other video I did, this blinking light for the key fob, I thought it might have been my battery starting to go low. So I got my other key fob out, did the same thing. I changed my batteries in my key fob, same thing, still blinks. But I noticed that, I'm not going to do it when I'm driving here, but if I take that the 12 volt accessory out, it stops. At least I think it is. I'm going to test that when I get to my destination here. I'm not too far away, but it's just it's kind of an aggravation, because it like the first time it happened to me, I was going on a long trip, like a couple hour drive from the house, and then I noticed it blinking actually before I even got out of my subdivision. So I had that in the back of my mind the whole time as I was riding out there, like, oh no, what's going on? So I brought my extra fob with me, you know, thinking that the batteries might have been wearing down, and of course that wasn't it. So, you know, all these fancy electronic gadgets and stuff that all these manufacturers are putting on their bikes, take it or leave it for me. I would rather just have a key and that's it. It's a convenience thing. So the world right now is all about convenience, right? They want, these manufacturers, the more bells and whistles, or just more selling features, that's all. But enough's enough. It's like, just give me a bike that's reliable, and I don't have to deal with blinky lights and wondering what the hell's going on with my bike all the time, you know what I mean? I'm just old school, like I said many times in the video. Let's see. Yeah, I'll go straight. Sometimes that's way backed up. You can cut through that subdivision there. I forgot to text this guy. I told him I'd text him before I headed out there. That's okay. I'll probably just stop. Shoot him a quick text. So yeah, that thing will blink. That thing will blink and blink and blink until I take my battery charger, not my battery, but my 12 volt adapter out. So at least I know what it is. So anyway, getting back to the vehicle that I'm going to go look at. We paid for the shipping from Maryland. It's pretty much a done deal. I just got to look at it, make sure there's no major stuff going on with it. That, I mean, it looks clean from the video or from the pictures and stuff. And it's only got 31,000 miles, so it's got a lot of life left on it. And I'm the kind of guy that buys a vehicle and keeps it till it dies, or till it gets totaled, one of the two. That seems to be our luck. Had 2 vehicles totaled, which wasn't our fault at all, but you know, you do the best you can keeping a vehicle. But we got a good replacement value out of the SUV that got totaled recently. Nobody was hurt, thank goodness. So we got the settlement, got the money for that all, and I'm going to just use that as a down payment on this new one. I should say on this used one. It's not new to us, you know. But I did a lot of extensive research. We like an SUV. My wife likes to drive an SUV, sits up a little higher, and it is nice to have an SUV if you ever do need to haul anything or put something in the back. So we definitely wanted an SUV. So then it boiled down to, you know, when you research anything, what kind of options do you want? You know, we like the gadgets, we love the bells and whistles. I like the heated seats and the heated steering wheel, and some people don't care about that stuff, but I tell you what.
I'll tell you what.
Living in the winter here in Ohio gets really, really cold, and it's nice to be able to have a remote start. Oh, by the way, this one has remote start. I'll probably do a little review on it. I know you guys may not be interested in a car review, but you know, my channel encompasses a lot of different things, so I don't have to necessarily stick with this, you know, motorbike all the time. I can do reviews on other things, and I think it's good knowledge for people. We'll do a video on that, kind of go over it in a little detail. But yeah, I was looking for something that had all the convenience factors that I like, with the heated seats and heated steering wheel and all that jazz, but it's got a lot more than that. It's pretty much a 10 out of 10 on options. So it's got everything. It's got so much stuff that there's stuff that I didn't even know it had, that kind of stuff. It's one of the few vehicles on the road today that has almost every available option that is on the market right now, which is interesting for a Ford, unless you get up on the high end. But it's a 2018, and it's a titanium version, which is the loaded version. You know, it has the panoramic sunroof, and not that that's a big deal to me, but it just came with all those options. I just wanted heated seats and steering wheel pretty much more than anything, because that's really nice feature in the cold months, like I said, in Ohio. A lot of traffic. It's rush hour. I've had comments on my channel that some of you guys and gals live out in the rural areas where the city driving would be very intimidating for you, and I get that. I mean, it's busy, but this is, what time is it? Yeah, 5:06, so it's exactly rush hour here. And this isn't even the major city. We live in a township, so this isn't like downtown or anything, like I did the video on downtown. But everybody's letting out of work, and there's a lot of stuff, a lot of business around here. Hospital I just passed. Can I get over? Yeah. What do you know? A red light. Always. Always, always, always. So being down to one car kind of sucks. I still have my car. I have a Kia Optima, and I love it. It's got every available option on it. It even has AC seats, air-conditioned seats. That's very rare. So I bought that fully loaded because I like all that stuff. So my daughter drives that when she has to go to work, since the SUV got totaled. Guy blew a red light, and she didn't have time to react, plowed him into the side as he ran right through a red light. But like I said, nobody was hurt. She was sore for about a week or so, but nothing, thank goodness, nothing major. So his insurance did the appraisal. It was a total loss, and I got the check in the bank already. It was transferred today, I believe. But we need a vehicle, because I tell you what.
I'll tell you what.
You don't realize how important vehicles are when you have 3 people living in one house that work with only one vehicle and the motorbike. Now, see, I'm fortunate because I can work from home. And I told my company, I said, well, because we're down a vehicle, I'm gonna have to work from home this week. And I have done that for like the last 2 or 3 weeks, because usually I'll go in on a Friday, work about 4 days at home. Let's go. Always cars everywhere you go, I swear. I'm just gonna go down here and park and hang out a minute and text that guy, tell him I'll be there pretty soon. Ugh. Okay. But I was going to say, I can ride this to work if I had to, especially when it's warmer out. I'll just say be there soon. Yeah, like I said, so we've been looking for SUVs for a while. I tell you, since I love all the bells and whistles, I had it narrowed down to the Ford Escape. I really was looking at the Nissan Rogue. What else was I looking at? the Buicks, I kind of like a nice ride. I like the Buick Enclave, I think they call it. The Encore is the small one. And I heard the Encore, the engines in those things aren't very reliable from multiple mechanics that I listen to, follow their channels online. But I haven't really heard much about the Ford Escape, and I'm getting the 2.0 EcoBoost turbo engine in it. Is it the best engine in the world? Probably not. Just like anything else in life, is not the best. But as far as reducing the possibility of having issues, I wasn't finding a lot on the Ford Escape. And I'm like one of these people that, as you know with this, meticulously take care of everything, do my regular maintenance, things like that. So we'll probably get this Escape, and when you see it, it looks really cool. It's pretty unique. It was kind of custom. Whoever bought it initially had some custom stuff on it, but I'm not going to give that away yet. I'll let you guys see that when I finally get my video up. So yeah, I'm just gonna go check it out. Like I said, I'm just sitting here wasting some time. CarMax is right there, but I told the guy I'll be there soon. So just kind of stalling a little bit. Man, I made good time getting here. Really did. But that's what's nice about this. Hop on it, run your little errands, you know, wherever you got to go. Got my water. Of course, I can't drink my water with my helmet on. That's not going to be good. So I'm going to pause this a minute, and I'll probably start this video back up once I get on the road, and we'll be back shortly. Well, that was pretty cool, checking out the new ride. Yeah, I like it quite a bit. It's surprising. I drove it, kind of checked around the all the gadgets on the inside and stuff, but for a smaller SUV, it really had a pretty smooth ride to it. Now the vehicle that was totaled is exactly like the one in front of me right now. That's the Hyundai Santa Fe. That was our old SUV. But the suspension was always really stiff to me, and I had the same issue when I had a Hyundai Elantra. It's like, my goodness, you're like driving in a Mack truck. There's just like the suspension is very rough. It's a very harsh ride. The Santa Fe was a little better, but it was still kind of a harsh ride. I mean, you just feel every bump. Now, I don't know, I mean, of course it was an older vehicle, but still, I don't know if that's just because of the foreign cars like the Hyundai and the Kia. My Kia is very harsh ride too, my Kia Optima. But I got into this Ford Escape, and immediately I'm thinking to myself, Wow, this is very smooth. It absorbed the bumps a lot better. You know, granted, it's a 2018. Now we'll have to see what it's like in 10 more years. But so I was pretty impressed by the comfort and how it absorbed the bumps, because I can really feel it in any other car I've had. So it's got all the bells and whistles, like I said, and I'll do a full review on it just for kicks, because I enjoy doing it. It's not really the theme of the motorbike channel, but you got to remember, and I have to remember, I could do a video on anything, because what we do is just share knowledge. You know, it's just about, that's what I go on YouTube for, is to gain knowledge on stuff, right? I mean, hell, I rebuilt a lot of my Honda Civic parts in the engine by watching YouTube videos. That's how I learn. So we'll do a review on the Ford Escape, so I can go over a lot closer in detail. But it's, and like I said, I extensively research everything before I buy anything. The rental vehicle that I actually had when insurance was preparing my estimate and stuff was a Buick Encore, the very small little SUV. Believe it or not, it was a fairly nice ride, but it was very small. It was like, I kind of felt cramped in it, you know. I mean, it's great for probably our daughter who's small. She could get away with something like that and probably like it. But then again, the Encore engines, I've heard some not so good things about the Buick Encore engines. I think they're 1.5 liter or 1.7 liter, I can't remember. But one of the guys I follow on YouTube says that they get a bunch of those in all the time with just trashed engines. So, and they're not that old. So anytime you hear that from a mechanic, you kind of have to raise an eyebrow and say, well, maybe that's something I don't want to put my money into, is Buick Encore. But there's plenty of others out there. Putt-putt. But I've always purchased vehicles. I've never leased a vehicle. I just buy them and I pay them off, and I put as much down as I can, and I just pay them off, and that's what I've done with every car I've ever owned. And I think you make out in the long run that way, because hell, I didn't have a car payment for that Santa Fe for probably, oh my gosh, 6-7 years. So you recoup all that money, you know. Now I know leasing is very popular, and if you have the preference of driving a new car every 2-3 years, and you want to put about $5,000 down during that time period every time you do a lease, that's your prerogative. I mean, people do that. Everybody has a choice, right? But I just can't get myself to do that, because it's like you spend $300 a month on a car for 3 years, and then you have to turn it in. Or I mean, you can buy it. I know there's options to buy it, but most people just turn it in and start over, you know. I don't know. I'd rather just have something to keep without a car payment for as long as I can, you know. I had a Hyundai Elantra that I drove the crap out of that thing. I think I drove it, and it had 150,000 miles when kind of passed it along to my son, and he drove it for another 4 years until he got in an accident. But it lasted a long time, and the engine was strong as heck. Didn't have any issues with that Hyundai Elantra, really. And same thing with the Santa Fe. Didn't have really any major issues, and engine was very strong. So yeah, I buy them to run them into the ground, a vehicle. It's really the only way to recoup your money, because a vehicle is not an investment. A vehicle is an expense. I don't care what they say. You gotta have one to get from point A to point B, right? You gotta have something to drive. But you know, at my age, you know, I put my hard work in and my dues, and I think I wanted to get something this time around, and it's not like crazy expensive or anything. I mean, it's just something that, because I live within my means, we always have. But I wanted to get something with all the bells and whistles, you know. Like I said, the heated seats and steering wheel and all the modern conveniences, because I think that's important. My wife will be driving it more than me, so I wanted to get everything for her, and then I continue to drive my Optima till I run that into the ground. Hell, I might be able to keep that for another 10 years, hopefully. You never know. But I just look at all these vehicles that I pass, and I know darn good and well that they're brand new. I mean, they're like 2022s, 2023s, and some of these big SUVs, my goodness, I mean, they're not cheap. They're not cheap at all. So I don't know how these people afford that. And the only thing I can think of is, well, they're probably leasing them. That's the only way to get in a car like that, or you're going to be paying $1,000 a month for a car payment if you finance it. I mean, are you really going to go out and finance $60,000, $70,000 on some of these huge, fully stocked SUVs? I wouldn't.
Sure, why not?
Well, that's insane to me. I mean, I no offense, but if people are doing that, that's just, I'd rather use that money elsewhere, you know. But it is what it is. If that's your choice, if that's what you want to do, and you want to sink $50,000, $60,000 into a car, yeah, all I can say is more power to you. That's your choice, and we all have choices. I'm not going to judge somebody for doing it. I just can't do it. I'd be sick to my stomach putting that kind of money into a vehicle.
Wealthy American.
This vehicle, that the 2018 Santa Fe Titanium, the list price on that when it was sold new, the Titanium line with every available option, was close to $50,000. Okay, I'm getting it for less than half of that, trust me. And it's only a 2018, so what, it's 4 or 5 years old, but it's practically brand new with only 31,000. And you know, you put about 10 grand down, and then you're not financing much at all. I'm not going to pay cash for the whole thing. I'd rather let my money work for me elsewhere, you know. So this is what I was telling you guys about. Just a sneak peek, and then we'll get into a full review. It's about enough for now, right? Home sweet home. Oh.